Hello?
Hello, is Vinny in?
Yes, this is Vinny.
Maynard looking for Vinny.
This is me. How are you, sir?
Alright.
Okay. I honestly, I guess I can start out with the basic praise angle and say that I'm a large fan of the band, and in particular the emotion and stuff that comes forth. And I was able to catch the show that you guys had this past Saturday in Indianapolis and was thoroughly impressed. And I'd like to thank you for putting on such a great show.
Oh, thank you.
And I guess that can lead right into where this is going to go, which is obviously an interview, and ask you what sort of elements this time around are more important to you guys than when you were part of the package tours like the Lollapalooza and the Ozfest.
Well, with those packages, it's always kind of a focus on just introducing yourselves to new people, hoping that the work that you've done will in some way translate to new ears.
Okay.
It's just kind of testing whether or not you've done your job as far as a translator of those particular movements of nature and relationships. So it's interesting to try to test that audience and just see if they respond. So when you're playing to your own audience, it's not quite as it's more like a homecoming. It's more like you're with friends who already understand what's going on.
Do you feel then that when you were out with the Perfect Circle that it was sort of like an uphill climb to establish that sort of relationship that you have with Tool, with the audience that Tool?
No. I think that just as artists, the four members of Tool have from the beginning maintained their individuality and what we bring to the table to feed this monster known as Tool. And I think just sticking to our own ideals and the constant bartering, arguing amongst artists. You got four cooks.
Yeah.
The end results are always, a nice agreement. But I think that the fans recognize within us our attempt to really explore honestly and wholeheartedly with a lot of focus. So whenever any of us goes off on a little tangent and does something even minor, or something that's not so much a tangent, something that's like a major endeavor, like Perfect Circle, we have established a set of a fellowship of artists who will allow you to explore and to grow.
That's good then, I guess, to have that kind of freedom. Now, when it came to designing the production elements of this current tour that you guys recently embarked upon, was it a group decision on many of the visual elements that appear on the screen, and in addition to the touring group that you've brought with you? I mean, or is that part of someone brought that to the table and someone brought this to the table and it was changed and morphed to fit the needs and desires of all four of you?
Well, I think it's kind of an unspoken agreement and coordination in a way. I mean, the guys never really stick their fingers into the lyrics at all, because they trust my judgment and trust that I'm listening to what they're doing and it's going to fit and be relevant. And in the same way, I trust Adam's judgment on visuals.
Okay.
And of course, we all kind of had put our 2 cents in as far as the positioning and everything on the stage, but as far as the visuals and the video, Adam and his wife pretty much have complete control over that and free reign, and we have absolute faith in what they have going on. And then it's really nice to have those elements going on in the band that we in turn are able to be as surprised at the beginning of a tour as this community of artists that we have kind of coming to the shows to witness what's going on.
Okay. Now, I noticed that in the stage setup itself, it appeared to me at least that the band was sort of like playing a soundtrack to what was going on. I mean, was that an intentional thing, whereas you guys weren't the focal point of what was on the stage?
Well, we've always kind of pushed that. It's never really been about the messengers.
Okay.
It's more about the experience and the feeling that you have in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, influences now are a big question for me. I mean, I recognize many elements of almost classical music at times. You have movements, pieces almost in some of the songs, specifically on the new record. And you recently finished a short tour with King Crimson a while back. Are they a large influence as to how, I don't want to say Tool operates, but maybe some sources of where Tool as a band got some of their ideas?
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, I think. The older you get, the more, I guess, and it depends on how you look at it, you can become jaded or you can just have a wider frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm a bitter, cynical old fart, so when I hear something on the radio that reminds me of something I've already heard,
yeah,
I just guffaw and turn it off. But, yeah, I think it's really important to understand where you came from,
mm-hmm,
so you can really establish where you're going. And it's really important for people who are listening to what we're doing to understand that as well, that we are not claiming to be the pinnacle of anything.
Okay.
Hopefully we're just going to be a catalyst for someone else to absorb what it is that we're doing and take it to another level, because when you're in the middle of it, you have no perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's things that we're missing and things that aren't quite right and not could be better. So, and it's going to take someone else's perspective,
mm-hmm,
and it might not even be in the arena of rock. It could end up, being something completely different, like techno or electronica or trip hop or something, where somebody's kind of taking elements of where we've succeeded,
mm-hmm,
and gone farther with it.
Do you notice then in your observations as of late in maybe not only the music world but maybe even in film that people are making waves, making differences? I mean, I remember you mentioning on Saturday creativity and art saving lives. Have you noticed anything modern or current that's?
Oh yeah, Aphex Twin and
uh-huh,
Square Pusher. Tricky's always trying to reinvent some different approach to something.
Okay.
And the beauty of Tricky is that he, I love his work, but not everything he does on each work is perfect.
Yes.
He's really an evolving artist, and it's really wonderful to witness, some of the, and, what would be considered by me, like, obviously, I wouldn't have done it that way,
mm-hmm,
which is great, because then you hear it and you go, how would I do that better? I love that. I love that about him, that it's really it's an ever-evolving approach.
Yes. Now, when it comes to
and
writing,
Bjork, of course. Bjork's records are always just way out there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Radiohead, and I think what they're doing is great. But
yes,
it's kind of aggravating when everybody's calling it really innovative. When somebody like Bjork's been beating her head against the wall doing it for ages. Have
you had a chance to listen to the new album Vespertine from her?
No.
I think it's phenomenal. It's very, very flowing and almost. I get the impression of water-like at times. It's got the production element she had from a gentleman named Matmos. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He adds very subtle pieces and parts that unless it's almost a headphone album where you just miss a lot of stuff unless you're really seriously paying attention. And to me, I listen to music that keeps my brain moving, like DJ Shadow or the Uncle Project itself. And things along those lines, and I love going back and listening to stuff and discovering new things. To me, that's what keeps music interesting is going back to records and discovering new things that you missed previously.
Okay.
And the Bjork record completely does that. But
okay.
When it comes to lyrics for Tool songs, do you have a well of experience or a well of memory that you pull from? I mean, songs like 11 from the previous record, and maybe even songs like Ticks and Leeches. I detect overtones of things that went on in your life and the band's life as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a major part of lyrics, or is it dreams, or what you see in the
all of that? It's just a combined experience, whether it's a film you saw, or how that film related to something that happened in your life, and the translation that goes in between it. It's just all glue between experiences.
How do you guys feel as a band, as being heralded as like the only thing different to what's currently out there? That's the best way I can think of putting it.
Well, I'm kind of an optimistic pessimist in a way. I'm very optimistic about humanity and the movement of musicians and artists and everything. But I'm constantly let down, so in a way I'm kind of a pessimist, and I get all mad about it. But it's I think we're on the verge. Something's going to happen soon. I don't know what it is. But, so speaking glass half empty, half full. It's nice to know that we're making a mark and kind of standing alone for the moment.
Yes.
But it's also depressing, because I don't think that what we're doing is that innovative. We're just reacting to our influences and listening to each other, and that's the end result. So I don't know. I just wish more people would do that. And
yeah. Well, at
there's
times
such a mediocre barrage of shite. Hopefully that it's kind of difficult to compete with Walmart and Chicken McNuggets.
Yeah, I've noticed that quite a bit at times when it comes to just things in general. Do you feel that to kind of venture into the political world or even the communications world, that branding of name branding is occurring at a younger and younger age as we continue on, and that prevents that sort of creativity that instantly pigeonholes a 5-year-old into thinking that they're too fat or not creative enough to pull something?
Yeah, it's quite it's overwhelming. Hopefully something will happen that will break through that. Just definitely. I think if you're a big conspiracy nut and you think that the powers that be will go out of their way to undermine the masses, so that they will just kind of follow whatever whim and wherever the wind blows for them, I hope that something in the near future shifts where they realize that they've kind of doomed us in a way for having set that process up of kids. They know what kind of cars the kids are going to buy by the time they're 5, because they know they've got them hooked on Coca-Cola and NSYNC, and it's just a line of products that are just forced at them.
A connect the dots sort of.
Yeah,
concept.
But there's no creativity, there's no love in the process there. So hopefully that'll change. Hopefully they'll realize that we need creative people. We need a multitude of creative people, however traumatic and tumultuous that might be. We need that to evolve and to grow and to move on.
Do you have any suggestions for those who are willingly open-minded, then, who are willingly creative yet continuously shunned, so to speak, that will help them? I mean, do you tell them to fight the good fight and keep going and not give up, or will pessimism eventually take over, do you think?
Well, truth is truth. If you're an artist, you just have to report.
Okay.
Report truth. Just report your own experiences and try to be as true to what you feel, because we're all pretty much from the same stuff. So if some particular event moves you, it's going to move somebody else. And the more we have our finger on the pulse of, how the earth's beating, so to speak.
Yes.
Just gotta listen to your heart, and get your head and heart aligned and make art.
Yeah. Well, I thank you again, Maynard, for taking time out of your day to talk with me.
Well, hopefully, where's this from, Dayton?
This is in Dayton, yes. And I was going to ask you if there's anything you want to say to the people in Dayton, because you'll be here on Wednesday.
Well, I'm from Ohio, so
yes, I'm familiar.
Everybody should just come down. I don't think they'll be sorry.
No, I can agree with you there. The show in Indianapolis was simply amazing. And again, I thank you all 4 of you, for being who you are and being able to create with the freedom that you have.
Yeah, when you come to the show, just pretend you're watching Apocalypse Now. It's a film.
Yes.
Don't think of it as going to see a band who's going to sing pop songs for you. Think of it as going to a ballet or a musical event or a movie.
Yes.
A really long movie.
Maynard, thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
All right.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.